Good morning, math group. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Ruby. Good morning, Sam. And good morning, Chloe. I'm going to show you a video, which is your lessons for this week. There'll be chances to pause the video to answer some questions. And also there'll be questions for you to answer as well through the Year 6 website on Mathletics, and some games for you to play as well. So after each day's lesson, if you pause the video and then go and complete the tasks that are set through the Year 6 website. And then if you come back, it will help you if you watch the previous day's lesson again the next day, just to remind you of what you've learned. Okay, so we're going to start today. We're going to have a look at place value, and our learning intention for today is to be able to make, read, write and order numbers up to 1,000. And the star words for today are ones, digits, greater than, less than, tens, hundreds and thousands. Okay, we're going to start really simple by having a look at some of the Dean's apparatus, or the blocks that you use in school. So I'd like you to have a think about what each of these blocks is worth and how you know that. We'll start with this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And what this represents really is a place value chart. So we've got ones, tens, hundreds and thousands. The blocks represent thousands, hundreds, tens and ones. Sometimes we call these units, and they're used to show the value of a number. So in this number, see if I'm right, there are 2 thousands, 4 hundreds, 6 tens, and 3 ones. So I've written the number down as 2,460. Have a look and see if you can see my mistake. You're right, there should be a 3 in the ones column. So now I've got the number 2,463. Pause the video while you work out what this number shows. Okay, so this time we've got 300, 3 tens, 30 and 2. So that's the number 332. Okay, these numbers are made of hundreds, tens and ones. See if you can work out what these numbers are. Okay, so on the first one, I've got 400 blocks. So that number is 400. For the second one, I've got 2 hundreds and 3 tens. So that number is 230. And for the final one, I've got 3 hundreds and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. So 3 hundreds, no tens this time, and 5 ones. So I'm going to ask you this time to use the symbols to draw the numbers. This symbol represents 100, this symbol represents 10, and this symbol represents a 1. I'll do the first one for you. So for 23, I've got 2 tens and 3 ones. See if you can pause the video, write down the number, and then see if you can draw it using the symbols. Okay, now let's have a look at this question. The question says, which child has made the number 315? So 2 children have tried, Dora and Mo. Which child has made the number 315? Let's have a look at what Dora's done. She's got 3 hundreds, 10, and 5 ones. 300, a 10, and 5 ones. Now let's have a look at what Mo has done. Mo's got 2 hundreds. Let's count those tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 tens there, and 10 tens is another 100. And let's see how many ones there are. 5, 10, 15 ones. And if we add all those together, we should have 315 as well. So both Mo and Dora have made 315, but they've done it using different blocks. Okay, now we're going to have a look at ordering some numbers. So to order numbers, you need to look at each column, compare and find which number is greater. So let's look at this question. Which is greater, 3,715 or 3,742? I'm sorry, I had a little problem with my computer there. So we're looking at which is greater, 3,715 or 3,742. So both of those numbers have 3,000s and 700s. So we need to look at the next column, that's this one, the tens column, to work out which one is the biggest. So we've got a 1 in that tens column and a 4 there. So we know that 3,742 is the biggest number because there's more tens in that column. And remember that you can show this using the greater than and less than symbols. 3,742. If you remember from year 2 and 3, the crocodile always eats the biggest number. So we're going to put that one in there and put our other number 3,715 in there. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do before tomorrow is to go and try the questions on Mathletics which have been set for you, which are all about ordering numbers. And there'll also be some links to games on the website that you can have a go at yourself to practice ordering numbers, recognizing numbers and naming them. Okay, welcome back. It's Tuesday. We're going to be looking at these words today. Read, write, ones, tens and hundreds. And our learning intention for today is to be able to make, read and write numbers up to 1,000. Okay, just a bit of revision from yesterday. Can you tell me what this number is? Pause the video while you have a look. Can you write it down in digits? Can you write it in words? And can you show the number partitioned? Okay, let's have a look. We've got 200s, 30 and 2. Making 232. Written in words, 232. And if you remember how to do your partitioning, you can break the number down into hundreds, tens and units. Okay, I'd like you to try and draw these numbers using the symbols above to represent the blocks. So this time we've got a new block. We've got a thousands block, a hundreds block, a tens block, and a 1 for the ones. So I've done the first one for you. There's 4 tens and 3, making 43. If you pause the video while you have a go yourself. Okay, here's some more blocks. 200s, 30 and 2. And we've got Thor here saying he thinks the number shown is 242. Is he correct? And he's not, because we've got 200, 3 tens, 30 and 2. So the number shown there is 232. Have a look at this question. What's the value of the number represented in the place value chart? It says to write your answer in numerals, that's in numbers, and then in words. $200, 3 tens, 3 ones, 233. Okay, complete the place value chart so it shows the number 354. So the way this should look is like this. 300s, 5 tens, and 4 ones. And if we're to write that as a part whole model, we'd write it like this. Sorry about my messy pen. 350 and 4. So we're just breaking the number up into its different parts. Tens, ones, and hundreds. Have a look at this question. Iron Man thinks this number is shown as 68. And here, Eva says the number shown in the place value grid is 467. So let's have a look at this number to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5 tens, so that's 50, and 8 ones, 58. And for Eva here, what she's got is 6 hundreds, 4 tens, and 7 ones. So both of those answers were wrong. Have a look at what Eva's done, where she's got confused. She's got her tens and her hundreds mixed up. Okay, what I'd like you to try and do now is using the digit cards, each one once each, see how many numbers you can make. The way I've approached this question is to start with the smallest number I could possibly make, which is the 0, the 3, and then the 5, which is 35. 3 tens and 5 ones. Then I can make 0, 5, and 3, or 53. See how many numbers you can make using your place digit cards. And if you pause the video while you write that down. Okay, and before we have a look at tomorrow's lesson, I'd like you to go back onto Mathletics and answer the questions that I've set for you there. And if you want to have another go at the place value games, that will help you get more fluent and quicker at answering the questions. Well done. Okay, good morning. It's Wednesday, and this morning's star words are tens, hundreds, thousands, and we're going to be looking at number lines as well. And our learning intention today to be able to place numbers on a number line up to 1,000. Okay, if you have a look at this number line, it's what we call an empty number line because these different intervals on the number line aren't marked. But it goes from 0 at one end to 100 at the other end. So the first thing we need to figure out is what each interval is worth. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines on the number line going from 0 to 100, and that means that each line, because they're equally spaced, represents 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. You might want to pause the video again while you have a look at this question. Where would 40 be on the number line? And how do you know? So see if you can place 40 on the number line. Again, we're still counting in tens. Have a think about what number is halfway along the number line as well. Okay, I've changed my number line a little bit this time. What do you think each interval is worth on this number line? We're going from 0 to 1,000. So each interval this time is worth 100. See if you can work out where 500 would go, and then also where 750 might go on the number line. And here's 3 questions for you to try. Okay, on the first number line, we're going from 0 to 100. There are 10 intervals, so each interval represents counting in tens. So the number 80 is going to go right there. Another 0 to 100 number line. It says draw an arrow to show the number 56. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and here's 60. So it's in between 50 and 60. So 56 is going to be about there. And here's another 0 to 100 number line. This time the intervals aren't marked. So I'm going to draw a line right down the middle to show where the number 50 is, because 50 is half of 100. I'm going to draw a line to show where the number 25 is. So which letter is closest to the 25? I think it's letter A, but only just. And here's a few more questions for you to practice. These ones are a little bit more tricky because you need to look very carefully at the numbers at the beginning and at the end of the number line, and you need to work out in each case what the intervals represent. So for the first question, we're going between 700 and 900. That means right in the middle is 800. And that's the number it's asking you for in the question. On this one, we're going from 550 to 600. That means we've got a gap of 50, 10 intervals. That means that each interval is worth 5. So we've got 555, 560. Here we've got a number line from 0 to 1,000. I'm going to draw a line right down the middle to represent 500, and a line a quarter of the way along to represent 250. And that means that this time B is the closest to 250. Same kind of question, just written down in a different way. Estimate the value of A. So I know that that's 500, so that I know that around about there is 1,000, and we're estimating, so we don't need to know exactly, but I think that number is lying at about 1,000, somewhere between 1,050 and 1,100. And for our last question to look at today, if the arrow on this number line is pointing to 780, what could the start and end numbers be? Think about that and see what you think. And then before tomorrow, I'd like you to go back onto Mathletics and answer some questions about number lines and about missing numbers as well. And also go back again and try those games again and see how good you're getting. Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at rounding. This is something that people find quite hard to do. So we're going to be looking at rounding up and down and going back to our place value, looking at tens, ones, hundreds and thousands. And our learning intention today, to be able to round numbers to the nearest 1,000. Okay, the first picture I'd like you to look at is this number line. It's part of a number line, it's not a whole number line this time. It goes from 21 up to 40. And I'm going to look at rounding the number 32 to the nearest 10. You can see the tens marked on my number line here. 30 and 40. So we need to know which 10 32 is closest to. And you can see from the number line that 32 to the nearest 10, we need to round down to the number 30. So when you're rounding to the nearest 10, the important digit to look at is the ones. So if you've got a number ending in 1, 2, 3 or 4, you're going to round it down. If it ends in 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, we're going to round them up. I'd like you to pause the video now while you try and round these numbers to the nearest 10. Okay, in each case I'm going to look at the ones column. So 41 has a 1, it's going to round down. The nearest 10 is 40. $56. $56. In the ones column we've got a 6, that number is going to round up to the next 10, which will be 60. 73, we round down to the number 70. And there you can see all of the numbers rounded to their nearest 10. It sometimes helps you, if you're trying to round numbers, to just sketch a number line and to fill in the tens so you can see where the number lies. Okay, this question asks you to round 365 to the nearest 10. So you have a choice. You can round it down to 300 and you can round it up to 400. So sorry, we're rounding to the nearest 100 this time. So this number line is giving you intervals of 100 up to 1,000, and there's 365 lying on the number line. So we've got a choice to round it down or to round it up. And when rounding to the nearest 100, you need to look at the tens column. If the tens are less than 5, you're going to round it down, and if the tens are more than 5, you're going to round it up. So 365 to the nearest 100, we're going to round it up to 400. Okay, so here's some for you to try. I'd like you to round 320 to the nearest 100, 471 to the nearest 100, and 750 to the nearest 100. So there's 320, 471 is about there, and 750 right in the middle of 700 and 800. So 320 is 300 to the nearest 100. 471 is 500 to the nearest 100, and 750, it's right in the middle, but because there's a 5 in the tens column, it's going to round up to 800. Okay, and using an empty number line, I'd like you to see if you can round these numbers to the nearest 100. You might want to pause the video while you try and do that. Okay, so working our way down. 130 to the nearest 100 is 100. 200, 100, 200, 200, 400, 700, 800, 2,400, 3,300, 4,600, and 5,800. And that is our last video lesson for this week. I'd like you to go back onto Mathletics and try the questions that I've set for you there. And again, go back to look at the games. And if you finish all of those things, please go on to Times Tables Rockstars and practice your 3 and 4 times tables for next week. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.